Yo, Hamsolo05 here with you today. Let's talk about Biomutant. Alright, so we're back. As I said, we're going to be talking about Biomutant today. Biomutant is an Experiment 101 game. Swedish developers, they're really an actually small team. It's a really fun game, also published by THQnordic, and I'm just going to keep it 100 from the start here. I didn't plan on buying Biomutant, but I happened to have a post on Twitter a while back where I had put like a post out saying, what percentage of video games do you play? Do you play Xbox, what percent, PlayStation, what percent, PC, what percent, whatever. But anyways, that was a big post that went around. Even Xbox ended up making their own post about it, and THQnordic actually made their own post without retweeting me, so I called them out for it, and I told them that if they followed me, that I would purchase Biomutant, because at the time it was pretty fresh. So that's the reason I got Biomutant in the first place. But anyways, let's talk about Biomutant, probably the reason that you're watching. By the way, this is out for all consoles. It is available for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, Microsoft Windows. So if you're wondering where you could play it, you have a plethora of different places to play it. So I have a specific way that I'm going to go about rating games. First, I'm going to talk about the positives, and then I'm going to talk about the negatives, and then I'm going to give you my A through F rating. So let's get started. One of the main things I really like about Biomutant is how whimsical and colorful it is. The nature is absolutely beautiful, kind of breathtaking, especially for a first year of the brand new consoles. They're really showing off how pretty and beautiful and fast-paced this game can kind of be. Also, the map, it's massive. Lots of places to go all over the place, lots of fights to be had. There's a lot of different types of people to fight. Another awesome thing that I personally really enjoyed about it was how much fighting that there really was. It just didn't seem to ever stop. If I went down the road from my last mission, I feel like I'm hopping right back into a fight, or sometimes coming back from the mission, I'm immediately plunged into a fight. So I mean, just the aspect of constantly doing something is something that is really cool in a video game, instead of having a bunch of dead spots where you're not really doing anything. You're also able to personalize your character really well. So if you like making your person the way you want it to look, this is a good game for you. It's pretty weird though. I mean, you got screws poking out, you got weird placements of your armor. You can choose whether to wear your helmet or not, but still have the helmet protective, like being protective of the damage that is incoming from other enemies and whatnot. But the mechanics feel really smooth. There's lots of different things you can kind of do around the map pertaining to how you go about fighting. So you can use a mech, or you can use different types of guns at the same time as using like a staff. There's a boat that you can get on and ride around and be able to shoot your gun. There's actually a mission where you go verse, I'm not going to spoil anything, but you go verse a fairly large enemy, and you have to be on the boat to be able to take care of the enemy. It's pretty wild. But it's really easy to navigate around the islands. It kind of shows you where you need to go from time to time. There's lots of side missions that you can do to continue to progress your character to get further. When you progress your character in the game, you tend to make it easier in the long run. So if you progress your character by doing a bunch of side missions, it'll really help you out later on when you got to go versus other difficult enemies, especially towards the end. When you really want to kick butt, you can just knock it out fairly quickly. The story's pretty cool. It's kind of sad. It kind of takes a dark sense depending on the route that you choose. There is a light route and then there is a dark route. So you choose whichever one. You don't have to go all dark, even though that's what I did. I went completely dark the entire time. You can choose some light and some dark. You can choose completely light, completely dark like I did. There are moments that prompt you to whether you're going to become dark or light, and you have to really kind of pay attention if you're trying to go down a certain avenue with having the correct response to it. Now, like I said, awesome game. I enjoyed it. I beat it. I'm on the New Game Plus right now. But, of course, with pros comes cons. Cons in the game, my biggest, most frustrating con was probably that the attacks just don't really feel right. It feels like kind of two sticks hitting like the ground, or it just doesn't have that impact, that oomph that I looked for in the game. You know, when you're playing a hardcore fighting game and you're fighting a lot, you want to hear those loud punches and kicks, and you want to feel like you're kicking their butt. But in this, I mean, as fun as it was to fight in that game, it was really awkward hearing these little snaps and twig, like, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just the sound of hitting somebody in that game just didn't feel very impactful. Even though you'd be doing a large amount of damage, it just didn't really sound like I'd want it to sound to immerse me a little bit more into the game. Also, fighting on mounts, I just wasn't sure why I could only use my gun, but I could not use like a staff or like some sort of sword or something like that. So, I mean, that's just a little gripe of several other things. Gliding was another thing that was kind of weird. It felt like gliding, you didn't really get very far. So I really wanted to look around and be able to fly over all these different places, like wingsuit. Now, maybe I didn't equip the right thing. I didn't go through every single thing to equip because I was trying to beat the game personally. So I wasn't really trying to see every single thing. So maybe if you decide to play it yourself, maybe go through those different options of things to pick once you level up and acquire those things, and maybe you might have something to tell me that I didn't know about. I'm always into learning new stuff, so if you see something or hear something that I am possibly wrong about, by all means, please come correct me so I can keep it 100 all the time. That'd be great. But anyways, continuing on. The fighting, although it's fun, it can be kind of repetitive. Like I said, going from leaving a mission and then immediately having to fight something, or having to fight the same wildebeest over and over in just a little bit different spots, can be kind of annoying. But I mean, all in all, if you don't want to fight, just keep running or go to wherever you plan on going. You don't have to stop and do every single fight. So that's another thing that's just kind of like nitpicky. But one of my other main issues were that it felt kind of childish or too cute in some areas. Like, I wasn't sure which crowd they were specifically aiming for, because although it's fairly technical, it has kind of a kiddie aspect to it that wasn't exactly what I'd always ask for in a game, especially when you're running around kicking everything's butt. The story is kind of dark in some ways, especially if you chose the dark route like I did. But like, just having that narrator just constantly trying to give me like positive prompts, I felt was a little excessive and unnecessary, which brings me to my next thing. The narrator just overdoes it in that game. To me, it was kind of weird that all of the characters in the game kind of had a Charlie Brown kind of accent, where it was just like like, I don't know. I understand that there's plenty of other games that do that kind of stuff, but I don't know. It just didn't make me really care to listen to what they had to say that much. Just because I was already tired of hearing the narrator. Hearing the same voice throughout the entire game can get a little old, just to be honest and to be fair. But that's really my positive and negative aspects, pros and cons to Biomutant. Try it for yourself. You'll probably have a different way of looking at it for yourself. But for me, I personally, from A to F, I give this kind of in the middle, a C+. I give this a solid C+ because it is fun. It is worth completing. But at the same time, it kind of had me raise my eyebrows a few times over some things that I didn't quite understand. So definitely try it out for yourself. Holler at me, like and subscribe. This is your boy Hamsolo05 Gaming. Thank you for your time.